Hello, everyone. Mike Lee Chave back in the studio here to talk about fertilizers and how you can discover the correct type of fertilizers that you can add into your aquarium and to make that aquarium pop from a plant perspective. How do you get hyper growth with true tone colors in your aquarium, and how and what type of fertilizers do I recommend to use in your aquarium? So let's hop on in and discover the best part and the best fertilizers to help that aquarium pop. Alrighty, so I went on this venture. I have CO2 in my high-tech tank, and I'm looking for more plant growth at a quicker rate than just the CO2 is being provided in that aquarium. And I started out using fertilizers at the very beginning. I was starting to use Leaf Zone, but then I had an algae breakout. So I did have hair algae breakout in all of my aquariums, specifically when I was using Leaf Zone from what it was actually adding into my aquarium. And I think it's just the dosage maybe from this. I'm not going to give shade to API, but I didn't have a lot of success from plant growth with also not having a lot of algae breakout from when I was using the Leaf Zone. So I don't recommend using Leaf Zone if you're a beginner and you're not using some additives within it, something like Excel, to help combat the algae problem in your aquarium. But I did find one where I don't have to dose with Excel and I can maintain quick plant growth. You're going to be seeing some clips of my aquarium currently, and I just trimmed the reds 2 days prior, 3 days. Nope, 4 days now. So 4 days ago, I trimmed the reds, not in half, but I trimmed them down, and they're already blooming back quicker than ever with full, dense colorization in them as well. That comes from the lighting too, but they need more nutrients than just from fish waste and decaying matter. And what are the correct, or what was the venture I guess I went on from a fertilization perspective? I was looking for quicker rebound growth and not getting enough from just the substrate, but the water column itself. All of my epiphytes started growing extremely fast in comparison to what they did before with new leaves popping, especially from a Nubis perspective, because we all know those take forever to grow. What was the turning point was definitely using the 2-hour Aquarius. And this is the APT3. They have 3 different brands. They have one for no shrimps in there because, well, no shrimps, no life in there, because you're not having nutrients from the waste being broken down and creating that nutrient cycle. And then the plants feeding off of that from your nitrates to nitrates. You get that typically from your aquarium. That's how your plants grow, but they don't grow at an excelled rate from like potassium. And well, potassium helps from a denser colorization. So if you're ever having reducing colorization from your leaves and they're starting to turn, just like a plant that's not immersed, right? If they're starting to lose colorization, it's because they're reducing the nutrients from within them and in the soil. But same thing from your aquarium, not enough in the soil or in the water column to pull the full nutrient cycle out. 2-hour Aquarius APT3 is meant for fish, is meant for that you have fish in your aquarium or some type of life. So it's not adding too much nutrients to the tank, which is what Leaf Zone was doing. I had nutrients not only from the breakdown of waste, but also from the breakdown of adding in the Leaf Zone, right? So it was too much nutrients and it was causing that algae to break out, and the plants couldn't compete with the algae itself. Typically, the great thing about high nutrients in an aquarium with enough plants eating that, then algae doesn't break out because they compete directly with one another for nutrients, right? So it's out-competing the algae, and you're not having that breakout. 2-hour Aquarius, the APT3, is perfect because it's a well-balanced all-in-one, but it's also not a high dosage for things with animals being in your aquarium, right? So you're not having that waste breakdown. So I highly recommend using that and also their root tabs. They do have a gel capsule, which some people comment that it doesn't break down in time, but they're the best for adding it into an already filled aquarium versus the API root tabs. Because when you have the API root tabs, there's no casing around it. So when you're dipping it into the aquarium to put it back into your substrate, because you should always be adding more root tabs later on down the road, like I'm talking 6 to 8 months down the road, because all the nutrients has been absorbed into the plants, you should be adding more back into your aquarium. And the API root tabs have a gel capsing on them so that it doesn't release into the water column as you're adding it into there and having another algae breakout, because there's too much nutrients in the water column from the root tabs, because those are highly dense, nutrient-rich root tabs that you're adding into your aquarium. So highly recommend those root tabs. And also bridging the gap. Jump into the fertilization game. I'm not sponsored by any of these people, by the way, so this isn't a sponsored video. I'm testing this all out for you all as a user and a consumer. Definitely recommend using this as your new fertilization and not having to worry about the algae breakout. Of course, read the directions. I do 2 pumps for 20 gallon. Read the directions. They tell you, convert it for all of you here in the United States, because it's always in metric. So just being aware of that. Highly recommend it. It definitely, as you see clips through this, excelled the growth on all of my plants, especially my epiphytes. So definitely highly recommend using this if you're looking for fertilization. This, I didn't tell you, the 2-Hour Aquarius APT3 for your aquarium. Again, you can use the leaf zone. I just had algae breakout, so it just depends. Maybe other people in the comments if you've had success with it. If you do use Excel, as dose, don't overdose, because then you're going to kill things in your aquarium. Use this and you can spot treat your epiphytes. I'm starting to use so I can't give you a recommendation because 2-Hour Aquarius also has an algae fighter. So I'm starting to use that to see if that helps in some areas. Specifically they have an epiphyte one that's less harsh, so it doesn't burn. I did have an issue when I dosed Excel on my ricotta. It did kind of fry some of the areas. So I'm switching and testing out some of that, the other stuff for more of like your epiphytes, your more delicate epiphytes. I'll give you an update on that later on. But yes, so going back, if you're first starting out in the hobby and you're looking for a great fertilizer all-in-one, definitely recommend the 2-Hour Aquarius. Check it out. Cheap on Amazon. Pick some up if you're here in the States. But until next time, hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, please take this moment to like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me as well. Put it in the comments. I'm here to help every single one of you as we journey through this together. And hopefully this helped you all as well, so you didn't jump into a fertilizer that then caused an algae breakout. But again, until next time, I'll see you all on the next video.